evening, and good morning, whenever and wherever you're watching this live stream. Let me know with a hashtag live if you're coming to join with me in the present, or if you're doing some sort of Back to the Future kind of thing. Put a hashtag replay, and you're catching up obviously sometime in the future. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about the courageousness to be present. So I was reading an article yesterday on LinkedIn. Have a bit out, obviously working on the weekend, and it was talking about why do people in general, why do we get the Sunday scaries? And what I found surprising was the research had shown that two-thirds of Britons, so 60% of Brits, frequently suffer from anxiety on a Sunday night. And furthermore, a new study by Channel 4, which is obviously one of our main channels in the UK, the University of Exeter, and an investor in People looked to better understand the causes of Sunday scaries. And the initial survey found that receiving emails at the weekend and having unfinished to-do list from the week before among some of the triggers, indicating that underlying factors lies the blurring between work and home life. And I'm not going to judge people on this, because for me to work on a Sunday or a Saturday or a weekday, I'm fortunate that I enjoy that for the most part. I'm not going to lie completely and say I enjoy my job 100% of the time, because that would be not true. But Monday through Friday is no different if I was to work Saturday or Sunday for me. So I don't go into a weekday like I would have done, say, 4 or 5 years ago when I worked in a 9 to 5 job in education, that I hated when Monday came around, because I had to deal with other people's anxieties, problems, challenges. And I worked in high school as well, so obviously everybody's been a high school kid, owns a teenager, and has been one themselves, that obviously you don't know what you're going to get out the box or out the gate at any given moment with that. But why I say, especially with this live, that you need to be courageous to be present, that if I'm worried about uncertainty in the future, I'm not living in the now. I'm not living right now. I'm worried about, I'll use today as a current theme. If I'm worried about Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, for example, I'm not living in today, which is Monday. That I'm having this tendency that obviously people love Friday because it's a chance to unwind and enjoy and do the things that they enjoy, because Monday through Thursday is utter crap in some instances. So by being present, having self awareness, and having all of this jazz, mindfulness as I'll put it, allows you to be able to be proactive as opposed to reactive. So most people that are not self-aware are reactive to situations. They get frustrated, annoyed, angry with a certain circumstance. Their emotions take hold, and I used to be one of those individuals. I would be still frustrated maybe a couple of weeks later with that person, and that probably person's moved on. Oh, I've had an argument with James. We don't agree on a certain opinion, which people are entitled to do that. And obviously, I'm going to give a shout out to Stu Foray, that he did a post on that, in terms of if somebody's trying to improve their health and fitness. He was obviously looking at it from a weight loss perspective, that people are going to hate you no matter what you do. So if you fall into that trap of being worried about other people's opinions, which I think a lot of people are, and myself included, I'm not scared to be vulnerable with that case. That you can't people please with everybody, because somebody's never going to be content with your decision, your opinion, your desires. And if you're always worried about, I'm going to say this, Sunday scaries of, have I accomplished everything I set out to do the week before, which is a form of anxiety, like seriously, in terms of like that you're not able to kind of go, well, I've not established all those to do that. Maybe there was too many. Maybe you've not ranked them in terms of one, importance, or secondly, what needs to get done ASAP, uh, right at this moment. That'd be a better way to be able to set out tasks in an order of obviously ranking them in terms of priority and what needs to do to be done in order for me to get the best. I'm going to use a business term, a return of investment, an ROI that's going to really move the needle in order for me to live the best possible life that I want to in the future. So future pace, what does that look like for me? Da, 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 da. And in order for me to achieve that as quickly as possible, what are those in that to do list do I need to accomplish and take off first? So if I'm worried about emails that are mounting up, I'm worried about Monday coming round. I don't have that fear anymore. And obviously, that's something that I've been able to nurture. That's something, the skill that I've built up. It's a form of resilience to, okay, if you love the thing that you do, it obviously helps because you don't live in dread of Sunday night coming around. Oh God, we've got to do it all over again and start at the bottom of the hill pushing up a rock. Whereas if you were to look at things in order of importance of why necessarily, and I'm going to bring it back to health and fitness for a second, are you maybe not focusing on your health and fitness? So be it why is maybe nutrition. I'm not going to use the word diet because I don't want to use it in this for this particular argument. Why is nutrition maybe not up higher on the order of importance? Why am I? And I'm going to use what happened to me last night to make a point valid. Obviously, I had a power cut yesterday, so I had no electric, no gas. I had gas, but as in had no means to cook anything, so I had to obviously resort to having a KFC in order to obviously eat. But in terms of if the conditions were, I'm not going to use the word perfect, ideal, and I didn't have a power cut, I would not have gone to the KFC. Not in the wildest dreams of, or be at any fast food joint to have a meal because I know I could make a better meal myself. So am I going to suffer as a result of that in the future? Probably so, because I don't know what's in the kernels, special ingredients. I don't know how much sugar's in there. I don't know how much salt's in there. I know the spices because it tastes like it. But my point is I can't worry about that uncertainty because at that particular moment, I was living in the present as there's no light, there's no electricity, there's no means to be able to cook. So I'm going to have to become creative so I can allow myself to at least get some sort of energy down my throat, and as a result, so that anxiety obviously surpassed, it's resolved itself. And why I believe people have those Sunday scaries is they're living obviously up to other people's expectations. It could be their parents, it could be their other family members, of your living your existence through somebody else's. I'm not going to judge and say that's right or wrong because that's not for me to say that is. But if there's some sort of disconnect with that in terms of why you're feeling that way, that is obviously one of the symptoms of why you're feeling that way, because you're anxious to not have accomplished what you set out the week before. I mentioned before last week I focused a little bit on perfectionism. That is teetering on the levels of and it's borderline. It is perfectionism because if I don't hit all those objectives, oh, it's a failure. Yeah, but according to what? According to who? Because that's unjustly diminishing the accomplishments of how many. Say, I don't know. We'll just say for argument's sake, I accomplished or you accomplished 6 out of 10 of those things that are on your to do list. Is that really ultimately a failure that you didn't accomplish the other four? Not really. Maybe those other four maybe should have been further up the pecking order, but in terms of that's a quick shift in perception, and it's very subjective because what is important for me and what's important for you is two different the two different objectives. So that aspect of, did I accomplish all I had to do the week before? That's when I've stopped doing that personally because I'm operating multiple hats inside my own business. That people might not assume that to be the case, but it is. That I will prioritize things that need to get done in order of importance, and the least thing that's down the bottom of the list. Okay, in an ideal world, we'd like to touch upon that maybe sometime in the future. That I've relinquished that particular task, overriding whether or not my week, my day is a success or is a failure. So this notion of looking at to-do lists in terms I need to accomplish them every single day. We're not AI, we're not technology, we're not robots. Okay, the closest that I get, I joke with the prosthetic that I'm a quarter Terminator, but that's a joke. In order to accomplish things in that fashion, are X's and O's, ones and zeros. So very much binary code. And for a computer, it's very easy because it's literally, if these things don't fit into sequence, it doesn't work or it comes out a different thing. Whereas a human being doesn't take into account one, their thoughts, their emotions, on how they feel in retrospectively to a to-do list and what it's going to present and make them feel as a result. I'm going very deep with this, but as in that's the level of awareness you can get to be able to kind of go, okay, in the grand scheme of things, if I got I got 5 out of 10. Is that such a bad thing? I got 5 tasks out of the 10 that I said I wanted to set out on a given particular. I don't do to-do lists whatsoever. I'll just do literally tasks as this is what I need to focus on this week and whether or not do I get them. So I'm very much in the present to they're only at most I've only ever been set like 5 and I could probably get all 5 done in a day if I really work hard at it. To then I can go back and okay, I've done what we said we were going to do for the week. They weren't that difficult in terms of tasks. What else can I do this particular week? So the other point that the article touched upon was, and hopefully you don't hear my phone going nuts because it's an alarm going off. But that's a distraction. But we'll come back to it. Is with it actually gave you yeah, here we go, some actual tips to alleviate some of this. Whether or not you do these or you don't, obviously it depends on you as an individual. But this is a hard one to grasp. But consider doing, and this is in quotation marks, bare minimum Mondays. I don't know how that's going to be received by employers, but it's an approach that ease you into the beginning of the week. So I've got a day built in on a Tuesday that my day is shorter, so I've almost got a second wind as a weekend built in to do that because I obviously go to basketball training as well. that, but if people didn't know that, that's the reason why it's built in there. So I obviously have a Monday is not a bare minimum, but as in I've got a fallback that Tuesday I've got a limited time to do things, so I can maybe focus on specific tasks on that day, and same with later on in the week I do the same thing. Potentially trying to do a digital detox at the weekend, particularly from work related devices. For me, that's very difficult because this bad boy is a work device. My cell phone and mobile phone is a work device, but I can not mess not look at messages that are related to work and literally flag them up for, okay, you can follow up with that on Monday. There's nothing that necessarily urgently needs his attention Saturday, Sunday. If it does, obviously I would cover it. Before you go to bed, and I've talked about this before, you could make this a part of a nighttime routine, is to do a brain dump. And what I mean by a brain dump is to write down any worries, any challenges, any difficulties that you've faced in the week prior or the week to come, and any tasks that you want to complete on Monday. So literally, so I won't just do this on the weekend or before I go to bed. I'll do this all the time. So literally, I can unload any information that's I've got that, hey, I need to remember this, write it down, and then I can go back to it. Okay, I've covered this and topic, and also obviously we've got technology. If you're speaking to somebody else, you've got Zoom, Microsoft Teams that you can record things, so you don't even have to do a brain dump. You can literally utilize the technology to record the call and watch it back. And then obviously with technology nowadays, you can have AI summarize what the talk was even about, and then you could write notes as a result of that, of any ideas that popped in your head that you need to complete or bring to the table for that forthcoming week. Help yourself to get in a relaxation mode on Fridays by clearing any hard deadlines or meetings out of your diary. I think people do that anyway. But if you're not, obviously it's what do I do? The thing I've got on my schedule that is a hard thing to do, that's every week, is to edit my podcast. That's it. So I can build things around that as in case, and depending on each given week. This is gonna annoy people, and some people are gonna not agree with this. But try to stick to the same sleep schedule over the weekend. So if you get up at a certain point time on Monday to Friday, you need to do the same on the weekend as well. Sometimes I obviously got games, so I'll get up even earlier than I do in the week. But because I want to get up, it's not that big a deal. So by sticking to the same routine and the same bedtime, you create a everlasting nighttime routine, morning routine, and your body is on a circadian rhythm that is the same for the whole entire of the year, from January 1st to December 31st. Make time for self-care on a Sunday by reading a book, meditating, for example, and this should alleviate some of those Sunday scaries. But you've heard me talk about meditation, mindfulness. I do it every single day without fault, to reset and to unwind, to relax, to, if anything comes to be an adverse situation or struggle, I literally can go back to the tried and tested, relax. If you don't like reading, obviously you've got audiobooks, but be it building in some sort of routine that you're still learning, so that then you're able to, as a result, you stay in the moment when these difficult situations arise, because it's like, okay, how do I want to respond to a circumstance? Do I want to be reactive, which a lot of people will do, or do I want to be proactive, that, hey, my emotions are not going to get out of control, I'm going to have a handle on it, and then we just set the baseline back down to equilibrium, and there is a balance. So I hope you enjoyed today's live. Obviously, the replay will be available on YouTube as well for people, and every video that I've done pretty much this month is available to watch on YouTube if people wanted to hadn't seen the entirety of the Facebook Live. So if there's a particular thing that I've touched upon, you can obviously go over to my YouTube channel that I will link in the comments for people, if you haven't seen it, to be able to consume to your heart's content. Obviously, multiple pieces of video content. So, from me to you, I hope you have a wonderful Monday or have a wonderful day whenever you catch up with this. And I will see you again tomorrow as normal. Touch wood. Anything that obviously it's power related, obviously I will do that yesterday, and I potentially I'll do my best to show up. But obviously, touch wood, everything will be fine. Let me know what you thought of this video, and I will see you all, guys and girls, tomorrow. All right, take care. All the best.